Now, after several months of frustration and despair in seeking dialysis following the closure of the Renal dialysis services in May this year due to accumulated debt, the Renal unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital was shut down. But today we understand that it has been opened. Now, it comes after 19 persons died because they were unable to afford expensive charges at the other private facilities. A statement released by the management of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital on Tuesday afternoon stated that the unit is now open for us and for use. My colleague Kwesi Adai-Kwating interacted with some patients who came to the unit today for lab tests ahead of dialysis within the week, and that is found this report.
After several months of closure, renal outpatients can now heave a sigh of relief following the reopening of the facility. The patients who sought refuge at other facilities for dialysis at exorbitant fees are now returning to the renal unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where they can get the service at a low cost. They say the latest development is a welcoming news. Rabiu Nyande is a renal patient who has been receiving dialysis at a private facility following the closure. He says the call to come for lab tests ahead of dialysis at Kolebu is timely and life-saving.
I was called yesterday that I should come for a few laps so that they start. When they call me, then they can then put me on the machine. That is what I'm made to understand. Okay. Yes, I just came to do it.
Enoch Bracco is a young man with renal condition. Following the news of the reopening, he has traveled from Kibi in the eastern region to Kolebu for his lab test in order to undergo dialysis, which he has missed many sessions due to the expensive prices at other facilities.
I'm from eastern region, Chibi. Okay, actually, yesterday I heard that they are doing the lab test. So I should come and do my yours for today. So probably I was here before because of the lab test. That I'm done it. That I'm waiting for 3 hours to get it. Yeah, I done it. So I supposed to take the result to the nurses so that if they check there is no problem on it, so they will let me do the dialysis. I'll start it on tomorrow. So I'll go back and find money to come for dialysis for tomorrow. If they call me, probably if they call me tomorrow, I'll definitely get the money to come on tomorrow to do the dialysis.
Kojo Bafo Ahinkra is the president of the Renal Patients Association. In order to sustain the services of the unit, he is appealing to government to, as a matter of urgency, pay off the 4 million CD debts. Hence, the unit will be forced to shut down again within a matter of weeks. He is appealing to the government to, as a matter of urgency, pay off the 4 million CD debt. Otherwise, the unit will be forced to shut down again within a matter of weeks.
We will still plead to the government because, my brother, let me be honest with you and frank with you. If that 4 million issue is not settled, within a week or two, this unit will be closed down again. We will not have consumables because we are number about 250 a week. And if one person dialyzes, they have to throw the dialyzer and the lines away once they finish. So we consume a lot of the consumables. So if the government does not see to that 4 million issue with the Physinos, the company, I will tell you within a week or two, the unit will close down again. It will be short of consumables again. We plead with them. If they've really opened, then they should see to that thing so that the people can bring more of the consumables in.
A statement released by the management of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital on Tuesday afternoon officially announced the reopening of the unit after several months of closure following an engagement with the Ministry of Health.
Let's bring you details of the press statement released by management of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Now, the statement says management of Kolebu Teaching Hospital wishes to inform all stakeholders and the general public that the renal dialysis unit was reopened to outpatient on Monday, November 6, 2023. This was subsequent to engagement with the Minister of Health, Honorable Kweku Agyeman Menu, last week. The Ministry of Health is working closely with the management of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital to offset the 4 million cedis debt occasioned by the cost under recoveries. We call on Parliament to expedite action on the proposed new fees and charges to enable us to recover cost and sustain the service. We commend individuals, corporate bodies, and other philanthropic organizations who have over the years helped us provide life-saving treatment to our patients. It is our hope that other stakeholders and benefactors will also come on board to support in order to prevent a recurrence of the challenges that led to the suspension of dialysis service to outpatients. So that is the statement provided by the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Then now, with less than 2 weeks for Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to present the 2024 budget to Parliament, NDC MPs are threatening to oppose it if government does not make adequate commitment to construct the large general hospital. Government demolished the facility prior to the 2020 election to construct a new facility, but almost no work has been done. We'll hear from the MP for Ododo Ni Lante Vanderpoy shortly. First, listen to MP for Lada di Kotopon, Rita Odele Sowa, who delivered a stern rebuke of the government in a statement on the floor.
By April 19, 2023, 3 years after the demolition, the Presidential Advisor on Health, following a long line of excuses, disclosed that government was now tirelessly working to unveil a roadmap for the construction of the La General Hospital. This chronology of events has only deepened the public mistrust and cynicism within the La Dade-Kotopon constituency. Our people yearn for a fulfillment of this long-standing promise, and their patience is wearing thin. Therefore, I passionately employ this House to assertively call upon the government to expedite allocation of the necessary resources and get the contractor to site without delay to commence construction of the hospital project. Mr. Speaker, as the elected representative of the good people of La Dade-Kotopon, I see and hear the frustrations of residents of La, Teshin, and Osu about the delayed promise to deliver an ultra-modern, international, and 21st century hospital. They are tired of being doubting Thomases. They desperately want to believe that government will keep to its promise and give the good people of La Dade-Kotopon the actual date for the commencement of the La General Hospital project. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Now, MP for Ododo vowed that the NDC will use all tools at its disposal to block approval of the 2024 budget if adequate commitment are not made to complete the hospital.
Speaking today, in the next budget, we want to see a commitment to the commencement of work on the La General Hospital. It shouldn't be any promise. We want to see it in the next budget. Mr. Speaker, on this note, I am the chairman of the Greater Accra Caucus of the minority. You are on our land, and I'm assuring you, if we don't see it in the budget, we will not make the budget in this house come out. We will make sure that sitting will be disrupted until we see the La General Hospital captured in the budget. We will show you that we are on our land. In fact, this will be another showdown. We will make sure that the Minister of Health and the Minister of Finance will not enjoy the peace in their ministries. We are going to marshal the people of La and Gamachi to occupy your offices if you don't work on the La General Hospital.
A majority leader of Seche Mensah asked the Speaker to order the Health Minister to appear before MPs to explain why there is a delay.
I will plead that we bring the Minister of Health here to relate to this matter, because I agree that the hospital ought to be reconstructed, and that the sooner it is done, the better it will be for the people there. Mr. Speaker, my own became necessary to be done because now from Swami to Wa, on that stretch of about 300 kilometers, previously there was no government health facility. Now you meet one at Offenso, which is owned by the Catholic Church, the St. Patrick Hospital. Then you get to Techiman, which is owned by the Catholics again, Holy Family Hospital. Then you proceed to Wenchi. The one there is owned by the Methodist Hospital, Methodist Church, until you get to Boli. So health facilities, all of us need to be concerned, and we should urge government to deal with this matter as a matter of urgency. I agree with my colleague who has read a statement expressing concern by the Speaker to inform that something is being done to deal with the problem. But as I said, it will require us to bring the Minister for Health here so that we'll be able to talk to the issues in a better way than I have done.
Now, the Speaker consequently directed the Health Minister to appear before the House on that matter.
The Minister for Health comes to the House to brief the House on the state of the completion of the La Government Hospital. I so direct.
Now to other stories. It is said that prayers can move mountains, and the Trade Union Congress firmly believes so. The Secretary General, Dr. Yauban, says Ghana's economy is no longer at a crossroads, but at the edge of a cliff, waiting for any further wrong move to collapse. He suggests that there are fundamental issues with the current government's economic management, but believes intense prayers can turn things around. He's calling on all Ghanaians to pray to prevent a total economic breakdown.
We are in a state that all Ghanaians, wherever you are, you should have Ghana in mind, whatever you are doing. If you are at your workplace, think about Ghana. And whatever you do, do it in the interest of Ghana. If you are in a church and you are praying, pray for Ghana.
Why should we do that now?
Because we are in a very serious situation. As I said, we are standing at the edge of a cliff. And so any wrong move can land us down. Let us all work together to get Ghana out of the danger. And I'm sure we all benefit from that. Are you not
seeing the government doing that, taking out us, all of us out from this one?
Only government. I'm saying every Ghanaian. I mean, we created a government.
Yeah, we can play our part.
So everybody should play their part. Government must also play its parts. Government must also play its part. Every Ghanaian should play their part. As I said, if you are at the workplace, think about Ghana. If you are in church, pray for Ghana. Because where we are, we need a lot of prayers. We are a trade union. You should understand that. So our main focus has to do with work-related issues. That's what we do. The Trade Union Congress was set up for workers. So we usually focus on workers' issues. But we realize that if the nation doesn't do well, workers will not do well. So we are shifting our focus not only on workers, but also on national issues. That is why the manifesto has been prepared. The manifesto is a public declaration of our positions on almost everything in this country. That's why it's very comprehensive. And that's why we are talking about things that you hardly will hear TUC talking about. Because it's a manifesto. We are talking about the economy. We are talking about human development. We are talking about investment policy. We are talking about labor market issues, of course. And we are talking about governance. Usually you will not hear TUC talking about constitutions and so on. But because this is a manifesto, we are also talking about things that affect the country, including the need for the change of the constitution of this country.
However, the NDC flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, who was invited by the TUC to a dialogue series on policies for political parties manifesto ahead of the 2024 general election, said the economy could have been saved if civil society organizations had collaborated with the NDC to hold the Akufo-Addo government accountable.
We could have avoided this unpleasant situation. The signs of this crisis were there for all to see. A conflicted finance minister whose only interest was to borrow endlessly and mar our economy in the quagmire of debt was obvious from as far back as 2019. We could see it coming. A president whose budget was creatively crafted to hide huge liabilities in order to present a favorable economic outturn to the world so that he could borrow more from the international capital market was evident for all to see. Appointment of family and friends into various positions in government, brazen interference to obstruct the fight against corruption, reckless abuse of the public purse, arrogance, and luxury in the conduct of public officers have all been characteristic of this administration since its inception in 2017. It didn't start today. But comrades, it is regrettable for me to note that at such a crucial time in our nation's life, society's moral voice refused to speak up against these unfortunate developments in our democratic governance. NDC was left alone as the solitary voice seeking to hold the government accountable and speaking up for the voiceless Ghanaians. And we were often cast out as spoiled brats who were ranting just because we had lost power. Today, the chickens have come home to roost. And we are all affected. As he said, country broke, country no broke, we all dey inside. There must be an end to this decline and a restoration of stability.
Now, we've been joined by Mr. Ken Thompson. He's Chief Executive Officer of DLX Finance and a Chartered Accountant. Grateful to you, sir, for joining us here. Now, what is the fundamental challenge with the Ghanaian economy?
Good evening to you. How are you?
I'm great.
I mean, fundamentally, we're at a point where we're broke. I mean, Ghana is broke. We're at a point where we're unable to repay our debts. We're in a situation where inflation is high, interest rates are high, our currency, is unstable, and it's a recipe for disaster. That's where it is. And this issue of debt has arisen because consistently we've spent more than we earn. It's that simple. It really is that simple. And I don't think over the years, that's what we've done. We've not been able to conduct affairs in a way that is prudent. And that's why we are where we are. That's as simple as it.
So if you have to diagnose the challenge with it, it's because of, not being able to cut our quota according to our size, which then equals to mismanagement. Is that it?
It's as simple as that. That's all we've done is spend money we haven't got, not cut our quota according to our size. That's all it is. As to whether the monies that we spent were used in the right way, that's a different discussion.
Okay.
But we've lived above our means, and every time we live above our means, catches up with us, and every time the hole gets deeper and deeper. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Our prayers for what the economy needs to get it fixed.
Well, I respect the leader of the Trade Union Congress, and when he said prayers, yes, I agree with him. We need prayers, but in addition to that, he said other things. So yes, we should pray and shouldn't stop praying, but we need to, for example, the Trade Unions Congress, they need to really now demand that they have a seat at the table to craft government policies.
Okay.
We need to take an axe to our budget. We've got to live within our means. We need to energize the private sector because it's the private sector that's going to change this country. And you see, Ghana's in a position now where it's like your father who's the main breadwinner has lost his job. So suddenly your lifestyle changes. You've got to change schools. You've got to move house. You've got to change what you eat. You've got to now start taking Trotsky to school. And we have to live within our means. And above all, we must now think of how do we protect the most vulnerable in society. And the issues that we should spend our money on is health, basic health, education. Our educational system is appalling. The infrastructure is appalling. I mean, you go to the schools, it makes you weep. Security is important that, doing all these things, our borders are secure. And then we make sure that people can get food at a reasonable rate. But going forward, I mean, we have to get ourselves out of this because there's no money coming from anywhere. There's no money coming from anywhere.
But Mr. Thompson, this is something that we've said over the years. We have to cut we have to manage our finances. We have to ensure we are not spending more than we have. But that has still not saved us. We keep doing the same things we say we shouldn't do. What must really happen so that things will change?
You see, that is where we must agree as a people what we want. Because you see, our leaders reflect us. The leaders in this country are Ghanaians. They are brothers, our sisters, our cousins, we know them. So what is it that we want as Ghanaians? But I can assure you where we're going is not good. We're seeing business closures. We're seeing mass unemployment. I mean, that's where we're going. And if that is really what we want, then that's fine. But we as a people must decide, what do we want? And all of us is responsible for ensuring that we do the things that are necessary to get us where we want to go to. What do we want as a people? This issue of overborrowing, the issue that we're heading for disaster, this issue that we should focus on agriculture and tourism as a service, this issue that we should raise taxes. These were things that we're talking about. Public presentations as far back as 2019 and before that.
Okay.
What do we want as Ghanaians?
Okay.
What do we want?
Well, we have to go, but if you can do this for me in 30 seconds. You say that we have to determine what we want as a Ghanaian. Who leads that? Because we have people who've put in there to manage the economy. So who leads it? Is it myself, you, or who?
You see, at least there's one thing that I'm happy about. I'm happy that at least in the political space, our leaders are recognizing that we have a problem. Because if they we didn't recognize, and His Excellency Nana Addo said it. You heard what His Excellency John Mahama just said. So at least when it comes to elections, they can't lie to us.
Okay.
They can't lie to us. Because if they lie to us, then he knows that they don't know what they're getting themselves into.
Okay.
So at least that's a shift. You just said him. So, and every time, they read a budget in Ghana, or every time you hear a State of the Nation address, your spirits lift up, and you think Ghana is going to be like United States the next day. And they crash it.
Okay. All right.
Now we have got to face the reality.
Okay. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to you, Mr. Thompson, for joining us here. He is the CEO for Dalex Finance and also a chartered accountant there. Now, away from that, renowned business management consultant and chief executive officer of Ishmael Yamson and Associate, Dr. Ishmael Yamson, has stated that Ghana is left bankrupt when the tenure of almost every leader expires. According to him, corruption in Ghana has reached a crescendo and is growing by the day. Speaking on a yet-to-be-aired episode of PM Express, Dr. Yamson condemned the incidents of vote buying that allegedly took place at the just-ended presidential primaries of the governing New Patriotic Party.
Every leader in this country, by the time he leaves office, Ghana is bankrupt. And because the leader has been very corrupt. And I'm not afraid to talk about this because it's the reality. And unless we accept as a people that helping people to buy our votes is not the way to change Ghana, it will not change this country. This country, for as long as we have leaders who have come into office indebted to people and they have to pay them back, Evans, I'm sorry. But I'm painting too bleak a picture.
No, we'll come to the positives.
Reality.
We'll come to the positives because I know you have thoughts on what that leader should be.
Yeah.
And that is where the aspiration is. But let's count backwards. At least you've given us a sense that it's possible to have the leaders.
Yes.
You mentioned Nkrumah, you mentioned Nels. Let's count backwards. What about this current leader, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo? How has he fared?
No, but
marking him with the same scheme.
Oh, if I mark him with the same scheme, it probably will be 4 out of 10.
That's a fail.
Oh, yes. Because you see, even if you yourself as an individual, you have not dipped your hands into the state coffers, what about all your leaders, your followers, and what have you done about them? Right? My greatest disappointment was recently we had a case about a minister who had so much money in her home.
Sanitation minister.
Yes. And the president said that he hoped her integrity will be proven in the end. Why would the president even get involved in this when there are state agencies which are handling the matter? You understand? Because if you, our leader, you say you trust the person, and then you expect the people following you to go and say the person cannot be trusted, it's not possible. So I don't think that he has been able to stamp down corruption in this country. He hasn't. Because if he has, then all the scandals that come up day after day after day after day, why hasn't he taken firm action to deal with all those things and stop them? Why isn't any of his people who have been found culpable not in jail?
So that's Dr. Ishmael Yamson there. Now, we are taking you to social media to then gauge the mood or the reaction of Ghanaians to this particular story. Now, Fofoyi Adam says, Dr. Yamson, you are absolutely right. Until we find a better way to fund political parties, we will not be able to produce incorruptible leaders to govern this country. Party financiers and vote buying. All we need as a developing country are patriotism, honesty, and discipline. Attitudinal change is key. Richie Lai says, Evans, you are blessed to speak and interview Dr. Yamson. I was his personal steward from Unilever and stayed with him in a clever house. This man is very great by our standards. News Lai says, Ghana as a country has no future. And, okay, anyone who will ask me, then what am I waiting for? Should know that if I have the means, I would have left. Okay. Seth Pottersi Atega says, you are right, Mr. Yamson. And then Christopher Mensah says, my rating is 2 out of 10. He's a proper failure. So those are some of the comments of some of you on social media. Well, this is still the JoyNews Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll return with more. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. Now, MP for Adan and Deputy Minority Whip Comfort Doi Kujo is mourning the death of 2 students of Adan Senior High School who drowned in the Volta River. Now, according to the MP, the 2 students and several others now rely on the Volta River for water to bath and drink after the Ghana Water Company Limited cut water supply to the area following the spillage of the Akosombo Dam. According to the MP, his people now need help urgently and has been calling on national security to deploy water tankers to the constituency.
300 houses that has collapsed in Ada. And when he went with me to inspect those houses, some of those houses, on our way coming, we saw the students at the river bank, over 100 of them fetching river that polluted water. Mr. Speaker, there is no water currently in Ada because the water company has shut down their facilities and they are not producing water. Mr. Speaker, Ada now we are in danger. We need water. The students, 2 of them lost their life. Mr. Speaker, these students are always in their dormitories. They have their water, their food, everything there. But since the incidents, they have been exposed to the river. They go there to fetch the river. Meanwhile, those using the river, some of them are having rashes. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleading that national security is here. He should send tankers to the school. We have few polytons there so that they can give them water. School children, where they drown, it's not too deep for them to get, but because the sands have washed away, they got stuck in the mud. Mr. Speaker, we are pleading. We have counted 2. We don't want to count 3. We are pleading to Ghanaians to run to our aid. It's beyond my control as a member of parliament.
And there is intense jostling among New Patriotic Party MPs in Parliament as to who becomes the running mate to the newly elected flag bearer of the party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. On the first day of sitting following the flag bearership election, there has been talks among MPs from the governing party about his choice or this choice, with several coalitions forming to back the various names that have come up so far. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante has more in the following report.
Key contenders to partner Dr. Bawumia into the 2024 election on the ticket of the NPP are all MPs from the Ashanti region. Coalitions are beginning to form in Parliament, and the jostling has become intense. NPP MP for Kwadaso, Professor Kingsley Nyako, believes the NPP's vice presidential candidate must come from the Ashanti region.
The region showed him love, especially members of Parliament showed him love, and he got 82% from the region. You know what I mean? So for me, I think that it's a call in the right direction. But eventually, he decides, and per his judgment, nobody will question his judgment. But I think that at the back of his mind, he understands the politics, and he knows that there are a lot of capable persons in the Ashanti region who can partner him to execute a very successful campaign during the 2024 campaign and election. So for me, I would support any call by anybody to consider, for him to consider that. I will. Yeah.
Some names have come up. Some Matthew Poku Prempe, Ose Chairman Sabonsu, the Deputy Speaker, Mr. Joe Wise. Would you throw your heart in the ring for any of them so far? Which of the names do you think is strong?
I mean, all of them are very competent persons.
While his chief whip, Frank Anadompre, believes Dr. Bawumia must not be stampeded into making a choice.
No, I don't have the mandate to determine who becomes the running mate. I think it's an exclusive decision of the flag bearer in consultation with the National Council, and that has been the tradition, and I want to respect that. Yes.
The boss is in the running. Secretary Sabosu's name has come up.
The
speaker.
Well, I think they're all good guys, and all the names I've heard they are equally good. But I know the Lord will decide. Yes.
Minister for Lands and Natural Resources and MP for Damongo says Dr. Bawumia will look at certain key qualities and will make the right choice.
Before you go, a number of names have come up for running mates. Who are you backing? Napo, the majority leader, the deputy speaker. Are you backing any of them?
First of all,
come from the Ashanti region?
well, first of all, first consideration is whom the candidate is comfortable with, because remember the candidate is going to work with this presidential candidate, God willing, by the grace of God and with the support of the Ghanaian people. If he is elected, the person he selects as running mate will become vice president. Like the Americans say, your vice president, you must be able to leave your coffee with him.
Elsewhere in the House, NDC MP says Dr. Bawumia cannot win any more votes for the MPP in the Northern region.
This is his hope and expectation that he's going to divide the North. He managed to do that in his own region, at the time the Northern region. But it's not going to be enough, because people felt for him because they didn't know what he can do, his worth. But today we know what his worth is. And it's not only northern people who are crying, everybody is crying about the failure of the administration, the failure of the present government. So there are two critical issues we are going to look at. He's talking about the faiths, his faith in Islam. He's also talking about his origin from the north, which he believes are going to be positive to him. We think that John Mahama has exceeded all that. He has an influence beyond faith. He has an influence beyond where he comes from. He's of a caliber, he's a national figure. And we believe in that stature of his to win the game for us. We are no longer going to talk about John Mahama is from the north. I mean, he's gone beyond that.
Northerners are very level-headed people, and their decisions are not based merely on, relations with candidates who stand for elections. They go deeper than that. And clearly,
I believe that if it is about a claim to the North, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has a better claim to the North than Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Why? Because His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's father, E.A. Mahama, after his public service, was a very well-respected farmer in the North and gave jobs to so many people. I mean, what stops any other Northerner from also saying, Bawumia, after 8 years as economic management chair, has actually failed the people of the North and disappointed all of us.
Now, imagine dropping out of school at primary 5 and JHS2 due to financial constraint, but still able to lift the burden of others through engineering and innovation. That's the story of Stephen and Cephas Loli, who are leveraging on their talent to bring relief to an entire community. The two Loli brothers, who hail from Sokwe in the South Town district of the Volta region, have, beyond their personal challenges and educational background, manufactured a car and a corn shelling machine to help farmers in their community. My colleague James Aveji tells their story in the following report.
Gear, 5 gear CLM. Back. First one front. Second one.
This car has 5 gears, just like the cars that you are used to. The only difference is that the reverse gear lever is separate.
Maybe I reverse a shifty back. Maybe I forward a throw shifty gear. Gear system.
Cephas and Stephen, two brothers who have decided to put their creative skills to work, described to me how they built their own car. Their highest level of education is primary 5 and JHS2. The perception is one will require a higher level of education to invent. However, this is not the case for these brothers. Their inspiration is fed by their deep passion to create. Stephen, the eldest of 5 siblings, dropped out of school at primary 5 and took to fishing to help his 4 younger siblings. But that help wasn't enough to see Cephas through junior high school, compelling him to also drop out in 2017.
We only completed junior high school. We didn't serve as apprentices under any master. We believe it is just a gift from God. We see a lot of the designs in our sleep and manufacture them.
But this plot did not prevent them from dreaming. Dreams that traveled beyond the classroom. The Loli brothers decided to nurture their engineering talent. Cephas tells me how it all started.
We were told our grandparents didn't do any apprenticeship, but yet they were able to construct canoes and repair a range of machines. So we also took after them. We just play around with our thoughts and they manifest into something useful.
Now the fruits of their ingenuity are beginning to take shape. They have already manufactured a car, a corn shelling machine, a fishing outboard motor, and a host of others.
Iron rod. Play motor intinano. Chemical manufacturer.
Okay. We used angle bars, iron rods, and some motor spare parts to manufacture the car. It uses a 1.75 horsepower engine. It was a sport engine we bought from some spare parts dealers and repaired it.